It is 3:31, so we'll call the Tuesday, September 28th FARGODOME Authority meeting to order. Before we get to item number 1, any additions or revisions to the agenda? Pretty light agenda today, but so hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
First by Rick, second by Dave. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Hey, it's not a very long agenda.
Yeah.
Let's get some
So we gotta
drawn
count
out
it.
pauses on those first and seconds.
Gotta count to 5, huh?
We'll work on it. That was the quickest ever. Okay, and then on to number 1, approval of the 8:31 minutes. Entertain a motion there. First by
Second.
Troy, second by Mike.
Everybody on record.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Any old business to bring before the authority? Okay, on to new business. A, the general manager's report. Rob?
All right. I failed to mention it at finance building last week, so I apologize. But if you notice that somebody's not around the table today, Sarah Dykema,
Yeah.
who was pregnant shortly after the meeting last month. She had her baby boy Ridley,
Oh.
on Sunday, September 5th. Again, was due in the beginning of November. So,
Okay.
but Ridley is doing well. He's spending a little time in the NICU, but things are progressing even better than they did the first time around with Theo. So I just saw a text or an email from her today or yesterday that it's progressing well, and they're just practicing feeding sessions now and progressing quite well to likely being discharged by the end of the first week, or about October 11th or 12th. And so at October 13th, they'll have all 4 of them at home. So
Thanks for the update.
So yes, again, another surprise, but this one not as severe of a surprise, but I guess even when it's 2 months early all the time. But things went well. So best to her and Brady and everybody there. With that, moving forward to page 4, are the financials for the month of August. The left-hand side is the month of August. The right-hand side is the year-to-date, which would be 2/3 of the year. So for the month, we had one event with 9466 in attendance, event income of $177,000. Indirect expenses of $356,000, and then with the other income of $1.86 million, which about 1.74 of that was another SVOG reimbursement. We had a net surplus of $1,684,000 for the month of August, compared to a budget of $281,000, or significantly up on that. And both of those numbers are kind of just managing, obviously. As you look, so with the event income comments in the concert area with a negative $310,000, that's 4 concerts. So the Guns N' Roses show, but based on Guns N' Roses, we were going to put two budgeted concerts through. And then August was the month that Maroon 5 was supposed to happen, so that's when we officially ran the other 2 through as well with that show. And then meeting rooms, $2,800 below budget, slower than anticipated activity, but as we pointed out last week, that $2,800 is the least below budget that we've been since February of March of 2020. So it's below, but it shows you that it's coming back. We're finally getting activity in our meeting rooms in September, continued to have more activity in October and November, the same. So things are coming back, but maybe holding a little steady is slow right now, given everything. Other comments, other income comments, again, you can see where the all other comes in at that $1,736,000. 1.74 is the SVOG. That is the reimbursement from January 1st to June 30th of 2021. So I believe of that $3.8 million, there's $360,000 to recognize. That'll be taken up with payroll and utilities July, August, September through the end of the year. So that likely by October or November, all that money will have run through and accounted for. where you can, that's why the balance sheet cash balance is so high as well. On the expense side for August, labor was about 11,500 below budget. General administrative was about 7,000 below budget. Mainly with, we still aren't, I plan on doing absolutely no travel, business travel through the rest of this year. There's several of our conferences are back and happening, but attendance is very low at them. In fact, we have another one in a week and a half down in Nashville, and just with our venue coalition group that we have weekly conference calls from who said they were going last week to, given what's going on in Nashville right now, but in Tennessee, to who says they're going this week, dropped by about 50%. People are just changing plans and not going. But that too hopefully will pass. Operations was about 17,000 above budget. August was obviously an extremely hot, humid month, and with Guns N' Roses and football practices and everything going on. We were using a lot of utilities, as well as we were buying a lot of small wares to fit up the catering kitchen area, and given the budget and event cycle this year, we just took that out of operating instead of any capitalization, since it's smaller stuff. Questions on the month of August? Year to date then, we've had 32 events with attendance of just over 138,000 people, compared to a budget of about 245,000 and 58 events. We've had total event income of about 893,000 compared to a budget of 1,827,000, and we've had total expenses of about 2,745,000, or 207,000 below the budgeted 2,952,000. Again, given the reimbursements through the Shuttered Venues grant, we have a net surplus through the month of August of just over $2.6 million compared to a budget of a $1,900 deficit. On the event side, real quick, concert-wise, so that $577,000 deficit, we've run 6 concerts through the budget. If you recall, we thought we were going to come back in 2021, so we have 8 concerts, so there's still 2 concerts to run through there. NDSU, now that we're hitting the budgeted events for September, October, and November, we'll stay above there. The family shows really won't change. The theater will drop a little bit. I believe there might still be one more theater concert to roll through that budget. That won't happen, but obviously we do have the start of the theater shows with the Simon and Garfunkel story coming up in November 9th. The trade shows will be about the same. We are still hearing and planning on hosting the Big One Arts and Crafts Fair here in a couple of weeks, and then the North Dakota Agricultural Association show is in the planning for the first week in December. The career and technology, the career fair we have with the schools in December, the one day also is planning on happening as well. So those are all very positive signs as we move into what hopefully will be the real new year recovery of 2021 to 2022. Any questions on any of the financials?
Thank you.
Move to approve.
Got a motion from Rick,
Second.
second by Dave. Roll call.
Troy.
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Moving on then, page 13, the calendar since our last meeting, which was August 31st. As we had discussed at that time, we had NDSU had their home opener versus Albany. Followed up the next week, we had the NDSU College of Health Professions, their career fair and scholarship program in the lobby and the meeting rooms, as we talked about earlier, on Thursday the 9th, and then again with NDSU's second non-conference game versus Valparaiso. Then we've had a week off, really in the arena. Sanford Health was outside in the parking lots doing a vaccination blitz Saturday the 18th. And then started a busy week last week with kind of events going on at the same time with Sanford Fargo Marathon with their move to September this year. They kind of moved in a little bit on Friday, couldn't really do anything in the arena, but on the concourse they had activity going on. On Tuesday they had their Fargo dog run in the south parking lot, while the NDSU Career Center was, Career and Counseling Center was setting up their career fair on the floor. They had that event on Wednesday, then with a quick changeover to the floor Wednesday evening, and the marathon kicked off with their youth run on Thursday and their health expo on the concourse, and then Friday and Saturday. So it was a busy time of building changeovers. Felt good to kind of be back in a normal routine, but frankly, my body said that really sucks, because it's not, we're used to walking that much and being here that long a time for all those days. But I think everybody was kind of dragging a little bit by the time Saturday afternoon came, to just back into the swing of events. But it felt good. It was good to be able to see the building with a lot of activity again in the month of September, and even more activity come up in October. Comments, questions from the group for past events? As far as attendance at NDSU football, I think it's been good. Down a little bit, obviously, but I think there's varying factors with that. The students have stayed true to form. They show up really hard for that first game, first half, and well, they'll be back at this next game because it's homecoming on October 9th. So, but they had a good turnout to start off at Valparaiso, but I think a lot of people left in the second quarter of that game. But it is what it is. It's good to have people back. Over 16,000 each game. Per caps have been decent. Nice to be in the flow. We've had some staffing challenges with not only our staff, but our contracted staff, our volunteer groups. Everybody's busy. Everybody has other things going on. Some are choosing to just hold off a little bit, but we're managing. For the most part, it is not noticed. There are some hiccups here and there, but we have those at every event anyways. So we're working through it, and our department managers and department supervisors are doing a good job of moving people around where they need to, and being cognizant of it and planning for it, and making sure we can get through it as best we can. You know, the one thing we always say for NDSU football is doors to the Fargo Dome open 90 minutes prior to kickoff. If you're going to choose to take part in the pregame festivities, which you're welcome to do, and then come to the building and expect to get right in 10 minutes, you and the other 13,000 people who are doing that are going to have a little bit of a wait. But that's fine. We really haven't had many negative comments on it. You get the occasional one, and I think once they have the situation explained to them, they're more than happy to say, yeah, I get it. So we move on and everybody has a good time. Plus NDSU is 3-0, so it makes them happy.
So September should be close to a break-even month with a couple football games and everything else.
September will be very
close.
similar to budget, yeah. Moving forward then, into October, a little bit of a quiet week this week. Here we did add some youth football games on Sunday the 3rd, then right into NDSU's homecoming versus Northern Iowa on the 9th. Another full day of FM athletics, youth football on Sunday the 10th. The turf will come up for a week with the Big One Arts and Craft Fair, as I previously mentioned. That'll be coming back in, moves in Thursday morning and runs through Saturday evening. Then the turf back out for the NDSU game versus Missouri State. Another day of youth football with FM athletics on the 24th. Brings us up to our next meeting on the 26th, plus the week of another NDSU home football game. Questions on upcoming events?
Rick?
I just have a question for you, Rob, and to help confirm something. So at the last football game, home game, a gentleman twice was talking to me. He said, "Yeah, they're serving beer on one of the ends." I assured him they were not serving beer in the Fargo Dome.
I think the only place that was serving beer was whatever Sweet Supus was in. No, we do not serve beer at inside the building at NDSU football games.
I was pretty sure of that. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
There was plenty of beer or beverages being served outside at tailgating.
All right.
But there was no alcohol being served
All right.
inside the FARGODOME.
Thank you.
No other questions. That would conclude my report.
Okay, thanks, Rob. We'll move to 3B, committee reports.
Okay, a very short report today. The Building and Finance Committees met on September 22nd. First item on the agenda was the financial reports, which Rob has already reviewed and we approved. Project and capital budget updates. We had a couple of updates from Rob. The dressing room and catering room remodeling is close to being finished, and that will be completed when the wall coverings in the catering room will be replaced. I'm assuming that's in progress or completed.
Correct.
All right, so that was this week. There also is some projects in the works, looking at turf replacement, and nothing firm on that yet, at least as of the Finance and Building Committee. They're looking at some upgrades to the north end seating area and rigging area, and then LED conversion in the concourse and meeting rooms. And that's still all in progress, looking at bids and that type of thing. That's it for project updates. Rob, unless you got something to add to projects?
No, just as we discussed just a little bit for projects on the turf, we have the price of what the actual turf will be. The plan is to put that through on a sole source because we're going to be utilizing all of the existing mechanical, but waiting for, they've got a meeting later this week on the AstroTurf's end, as we want to make sure we have a full inspection of the mechanical system, making sure everything's working the way it's supposed to. Obviously, over the last 2 or 3 years, we've had some challenges and issues with it, but also get through and change out all the hydraulics, things such as that, and look at all of the winch motors on the north end, just to make sure they're pulling how they're supposed to be at all the same speeds, or the speeds are correct. So just kind of run through all of that. So the plan still is that we will be replacing that in June of next year.
Are we still pretty unique in that whole setup for them, or have they done more domes with that?
They've done more overseas, but in the United States there are very few. But because of how our building operates, the many different configurations that we use, our building is just not one that has an option to put down a permanent piece of turf like the U.S. Bank does, like the U.S. Bank Stadium or a lot of football, and then cover it, where we have seating moving over it all the time for probably well over half of our events, and different things such as that. So it just really wouldn't work in this configuration. So for that, it is the best system out there to meet the tight turnaround timeframes that we've had in the past, and we hope to have in the future as well.
Anything else on that?
Not for me.
Okay. And then last item from the Building and Finance Committee, the escrow and permanent fund was looked at and reviewed. We did receive the year-end June 30th statement, and that June 30th ended with a balance of $49.7 million after a good year of performance, averaging about 22% return for the year. We also saw the July report. The July report ended with a balance of $50.4 million with a monthly return there of 1.34%. And that is all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Rick. We have a motion by the committee chair, so we'll just move into a roll call.
Troy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Anything else for the good of the order? That was a quick one. Okay, we're adjourned.